I am going to attempt to make my grandmother's eggless and milkless cake. And I believe this was the cake that she used for a fruitcake. And I've never made fruitcake before. And I don't really care for it, but my husband does. So I thought I'd give it a try for Christmas. So here are the ingredients that I have. We have a half a cup of sugar, 1 cup of raisins, a half teaspoon each of ground cinnamon, ground cloves, ground allspice, and ground nutmeg. We're going to use 1 tablespoon of shortening, 1 level teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. We also have 1 cup of flour, and then at the end it says to add in fruit and nuts that you desire. I have some chopped walnuts here that I bought. I couldn't find any fruitcake fruit, so I found these green cherries, which I cut some in half, and then also some pineapple wedges that I cut in half. And then I couldn't find any red cherries, so I bought some maraschino cherries and cut a bunch of them in half, and I'm letting the juice drain on this paper towel here. You're also going to need 1.5 cups of hot water, and you need to add that to a saucepan, along with the half a cup of sugar, 1 cup of raisins, 1 tablespoon of shortening. You probably use butter if you don't have shortening. And in go all the spices. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of cloves, half a teaspoon of ground allspice, and half a teaspoon of nutmeg. So I'm just going to turn the burner on now. Then that will boil for 5 minutes. That boiled for 5 minutes, and now I'm just going to let it sit and cool. Okay, I am now adding the 1 teaspoon of baking soda, I'm adding the 1 teaspoon of baking powder to the flour and mixing that up for a while. Okay, and then I'm going to add that to this mixture. I'm adding a little bit of flour to the fruit mixture. I think you're supposed to do that so your fruit stays suspended in your cakes and it doesn't sink to the bottom. So we'll see. And the recipe says to add enough flour to make a moderately stiff dough. So whatever that means. So I just put a big spoonful in there. I didn't measure it. Guess I should have. I'm adding another spoonful. And you know what? I think I'm gonna keep it at that. As I've got all of this fruit to go in. So now I'm going to add that fruit and what flour and the flour that was in with that. Put a little bit more flour in there. I'm going to go ahead and add that into my pans. Now you can either put this in one big loaf pan, or a couple of little pans. I think these may be too large to be considered little pans. But I'm going to use them anyway and just not bake them as long as the recipe says to. I'll put some parchment in there. Forgot to put the nuts in. So because I sprayed that, it came right out. So I'm going to mix the nuts in, then put it back in. Okay, this one's more full. It has more raisins in that than that one. This goes into a 325-degree oven for 45 minutes, but since it's in 2 pans, I'm not going to put it in for that long. I think I'll set the timer for 30 and check it then. The fruitcake is done. This baked for almost 40 minutes, so I don't know how long you'd have to bake the large pan. Probably close to an hour. But I'm going to let those set for a few minutes and then put them out onto a wire rack to finish cooling. If you want, I didn't think about this, but if you want, you can put cherry halves down the on the top make a little design, little flowers, or make it pretty, or put, if you have walnut halves or pecan halves, that would be pretty also. But I didn't think about that. It smells good and it looks good. I guess it all depends on whether somebody likes fruitcake though, because I think more people don't like it than do. So this is the finished fruitcake. These slices turned out pretty good, but it's got so much fruit and nuts in it that it's hard to get a really pretty slice out of it. Maybe my knives aren't sharp enough, I don't know. But we really like this a lot. It's a nice moist cake. I know it doesn't look like it on camera. The fruit was nice. I generally don't like citron, lemon peel, and orange peel in things, but the pineapple and the cherries I thought, and the raisins were good together. And my husband liked it, and he was the one I was making it for. So you may not be a fan of fruitcake, and I wasn't sure whether I would like it or not either. But I have to say, making a recipe that was my grandmother's was kind of nice. And she's been gone a long time, but it made me think of her all day long. And so if you like fruitcake, give this a try. If you like raisin cake, give it a try. Or a raisin spice bread, give it a try. It's especially nice if you don't have milk or eggs in the house. You can still make it. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Bye.